Good morning, friends. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Well, today is the 9th day of Christmas, and I have yet another story for you. This one is called The Tiniest Christmas Star. I wonder what a tiny Christmas star has to do with Christmas. Let's read to find out. This one is by Masahiro Kasuya, and it's adapted by Mildred Schell. And this book is about 50 years old, so I have to be very careful with how I open and close it. On a quiet night long ago, suddenly the stars became brighter and brighter. They began to sing together. Jesus is born, Jesus is born, come to the stable, Jesus is born. One star said to the others, "We must hurry and tell everyone the good news." Here's all the stars. A very big star sang the good news to a sheep. The sheep's eyes began to shine with happiness. He started to follow the big star. You see the sheep following the big star? What do you see behind the sheep? The big star and the sheep did not even see the tiny star which traveled with them. They did not hear the tiny star singing the good news in a tiny voice. And so the tiny star left them. Poor tiny star. Another big star sang the good news to a rooster. You see the rooster? The rooster was so happy that he began to crow. Can you crow like a rooster? He followed the big star, crowing as the big star sang the song. You see the rooster following the big star? What do you see behind the rooster? The big star and the rooster could not hear the song the tiny star was singing. Sadly, the tiny star stopped following him. Poor tiny star. Poor tiny star. Ooh. What do you see on this page? The biggest star of all shone down on a bull asleep in the field. It began to sing the good news in a loud voice. The bull woke up and listened. What did the star tell the bull? The bull got to his feet and followed the biggest star of all. What about the tiny star? Ooh, let's keep reading to find out. The biggest star and the bull did not see the tiny star behind them, following behind the bull's tail. The tiny star sang as loudly as it could, but they did not hear it sing the good news. The tiny star turned away. That's the third time that the tiny star has left them. How do you think that tiny star feels? Sad, lonely, upset, happy, mad? What do you think? Let's read the next page. One star seemed to shine more brightly than the others. It sang the beautiful song of the good news to a gentle donkey. The donkey pricked up his ears Warm happiness filled his heart. He began to follow the bright star. Bright star. What's behind the bright star? The tiny star began to join the song of the bright star, but the donkey and the bright star did not know it was there. Soon they had left the tiny star far behind. That tiny star sure keeps on trying. Very soon, the sheep, the rooster, the bull, and the donkey, along with the bright and the large stars that had sung the good news to them, they met each other as they walked together. And together they went to find the stable where Jesus was born, to see this good news in person. But this time, the tiny star was nowhere to be seen. Can you find the tiny star? Is it there? I wonder what happened to the tiny star. The tiny star was left alone. No animal had heard it sing the good news of Jesus. It began to cry. Have you ever been that sad? I know it's hard. Let's see what happens to the tiny star. A small flower looked up at the tiny star. "Why are you crying?" it asked. The tiny star told the small flower what had happened. "Sing me the good news," said the small flower. Then the small flower had a big idea. "Tiny star, I cannot go to the stable, for flowers do not have legs to follow the stars. You go to the stable and you take my love to baby Jesus." Seems like the tiny star has a special job. Let's see what that is. The happy tiny star sailed across the sky. With it, the tiny star carried the sweet smell of the small flower and the gift of love which the small flower was sending to baby Jesus. You see the tiny star? It's close to the stable. In the stable, the sheep, the rooster, the bull, and the donkey looked at baby Jesus. You see them looking at baby Jesus? Their eyes were filled with love. Their hearts were filled with happiness. When you think about baby Jesus, are your eyes filled with love and your hearts filled with happiness? My eyes are, and so is my heart. The tiny star came into the stable. You see the tiny star? Where's the tiny star? Who is the tiny star above? The tiny star stopped right over the manger where baby Jesus was. Quietly, the tiny star sang the good news, the song of Christmas. The stable was filled with the sweet smell which the small flower had sent. Baby Jesus looked up at the tiny star and smiled. Bet that made the tiny small star feel good. Together, the tiny star and the small flower had shared in the happiest night the world has ever known. Christmas, the birth of Jesus. And that's the end of our story. Sometimes we feel like the tiny star. Sometimes we feel like the bright star or the large star. But no matter how you feel and what kind of star you are, always remember that God loves you and that being close to Him will bring you joy and love and light and happiness. Have a great day, and I can't wait to see you again sometime soon. Bye!